Hey guys, welcome to my already locked, farming only, blue wizard hat wearing Iron Man. No, I'm just kidding, that would be ridiculous. Snowflake accounts are really getting out of hand. This is my chunk locked group Iron account starting in the Artie market. Kind of weird for a group Iron Man series to be starting with me standing alone, right? Yeah, well, that's because my group doesn't love me. So, let's meet the team. First up we have Belletti, aka Uptown Chunk, the Master Thief. He just can't keep his hands out of wealthy pockets. Next is Leo, better known as Ardougne. Somewhat of a loose cannon, but he's been cooking up some real heat in the kitchen. For our fourth player, I can tell you that his name is Mac, codename One Pump Chunk. He's a bit of a mystery, but rumor has it he hasn't missed a single tick since he was born. Then, there's our Dingus, the alt account. And of course myself, Chicken. Originally named Ardougne, I now go by Farmdoom. I'm the brains of this operation, and by brains, I mean I begged my friends to join me until they couldn't say no. Technically we're a group of 4, but as you can see there are a total of 5 accounts. While our Dingus hasn't served much of a purpose, we decided to add him for 2 reasons. 1, he could serve as a useful shared account, and 2, we're thinking about adding a 5th player into the group, and having the 5th account already created means that we won't lose prestige if we decide to do that, which is pretty cool. And it's not like he harms anything just sitting there. With my friends mostly willingly in stride, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to bring you Group Chunk Bwanas. So, for most of you who watch this, you're probably already familiar with the idea of a chunk locked account, but I'll give it a quick rundown for anybody who's been living under a rock for the past few years. I get it, it's cozy under there. Basically, the RuneScape map is made up of tiles commonly referred to as chunks. A chunk locked account starts in a specific chunk that is chosen by the player and is limited to that location until all the tasks within that specific area of the map are completed. Once a chunk is considered complete, a new region can be unlocked typically by rolling a random adjacent chunk, where you move on to repeat the process. There are chunk accounts that are more casual and also those that consider themselves extreme. The difference between these two styles has to do with what task rules your account must follow to consider a chunk completed. Essentially, you get to decide how intense your journey is going to be, and there are so many variations. I want to put a few content creators on the screen who have inspired me by their chunk series now. Here's the general rule set that we're following. Tools from Tutorial Island are not allowed and were dropped. Lowest level processing. This means, for example, if we get an adamant bar to process, we'll just have to smith it into a dagger instead of the highest possible adamant plate body. Quest tasks will be required once the quest is fully completable, and diary tasks will be completed regardless of tier. We have to obtain any best in slot combat or skilling upgrades, kill one of each new unique monster, and, for the collection log, bosses, raids, and the other tab are all fair game. Currently we're unsure about just a few things. Farming, herblore, construction, slayer, and the minigames tab in the collection log. Our hesitation with minigames has to do with activities such as Trouble Brewing, where the minigame is essentially dead, but there are still a significant number of items to obtain. We'll be keeping these things in mind and discuss them further as they become unlocked. Some things that we just won't be doing include being forced to train using non-primary methods to complete a skill task, training skills with XP lamps, monster drops, raking farm patches, jumping a bridge for agility XP, etc. These would all be considered non-primary methods. And for the collection log, we won't be doing pets or jars. The way we're handling group iron is, only one person in the group must do the task for it to be considered complete. For instance, if we have an 80 thieving and a 50 cooking requirement, one person can do thieving while the other person focuses on cooking. As you can tell, this account is going to be closer to the casual side. We're going to stick to the general rule set, but we'll evaluate decisions on a case-by-case basis based on what feels right, and you'll see an example of that with farming. The main reason for these unknowns is the fact that we're all new to this chunk idea. We're trying our best not to stress over what could be depending on how chunks are rolled. Although the theory crafting is the most fun part of this account, a good example of this is how Mac and I once spent 4 to 5 hours late into the night discussing and optimizing how we could get 80 cooking with cakes if we rolled the chunk to our west, where a raw shark is obtainable. Except now with multiple chunks available to us, we have better cooking options. So, while that's pretty lighthearted, stressing about how to handle herblore while being considerably far away from unlocking Druidic Ritual to even start it seems kind of tedious and unnecessary, as we can't even be certain what other areas of the map will be unlocked at that time. I'm also constantly looking for insight from outside of the group and learning about the game mode, so this just makes sense. And at the end of the day, we're going to do what's best for the health of the group so that we still all enjoy playing, and hope that anybody who's interested in this potential series would understand. Now, you might be wondering why I'm sitting here with a wizard hat and a mithril scimitar, and why I'm at the Artie farm. Well, that's because this account isn't fresh. I initially decided I didn't want to do a series, but anyway, let's get you caught up to speed. After creating our accounts, we made the long, arduous journey over to Remington where we could take the boat to Artie, putting us directly in our chunk. We used the 25 GP from the alt account split across the 4 of us so that we would have enough GP to take the boat. We then spent the next few minutes running around and checking out our tasks. We knew the biggest hurdles would be thieving and cooking. Thieving in this chunk was pretty obvious, so we opened a door for 20 minutes until we were skilled enough to steal a cake from the stall. We decided Mr. Uptown Chunk wanted to go for the 80 thieving grind. We knew we also had an iron mace spawn locked behind a level 16 thieving door because that was apparently harder to open than the last, but we couldn't figure out exactly how we were supposed to get 50 cooking. I searched every square inch of the map and thinking surely the chunk rolling website that we used might have thought that the bears that were locked in the Artie Zoo were counting as a potential source of cooking XP, except we couldn't actually access them. We thought that our chunk journey had ended before it even began. Until I discovered this manhole. Now, I've been playing this game for nearly 17 years, and though I've passed it probably thousands of times, I've never really paid attention to it. Let's take a look at my live reaction.
Holy fucking shit, boys. Rats.
We punched our way up to combat levels until Belletti could get us iron maces. We needed just over 4,000 rat meat to hit 50, so we started banking it. While Leo worked on cooking, Mac and I continued with combat. Let's just say Mac's experience was a little less enjoyable than mine. So I killed rats and eventually graduated to zombies where I killed a few thousand of those. I needed a decent combat level so I could reliably kill paladins, which I had to grind for those best in slot steal items. I got fairly lucky. I think I ended up getting my items at about 70 KC, thankfully, because they were a real pain in the ass. Each kill took about 5 minutes on average, and I had to flinch even with 50 combat stats. All the while, Mr. Uptown Chunk continued to thieve while the rest of us stole cakes from an innocent baker so that he could do the Lord's work in stealing money back from the corrupt Artie government. By this time, 80 thieving was the last thing that we needed to do before we could finally start rolling. So, we assembled the group, hopped in a Discord call, and opened the chunk roller. For anybody who isn't familiar, this is an awesome website created by a really cool fellow by the name of SourceLink, aka SourceChunk. It allows you to mark which chunks you've unlocked, which are available to be rolled, and also tells you which tasks you have to complete. Take a minute to pause here if you'd like to check out his information. I'll also leave a link to the website in the description. I've been in his Discord a few times and he's super helpful with a really nice community. With that out of the way, let me explain how our rolls are going to work. As you can see here, we have our Artie Market chunk unlocked with a couple of highlighted chunks that tells us they're available to be rolled next. In our case, 4 adjacent chunks and also Brimhaven and Remington, which can be traveled to through Captain Barnaby on the docks for about 30 GP. Also, it's important to note that we're only allowed to roll chunks which can be physically accessed from our current chunk. We actually got pretty lucky with our first couple of rolls. Initially we hit Remington, which didn't really unlock a whole lot for us. I believe all we really had to do was kill an imp for a blue wizard hat. Our next chunk roll took us to Brimhaven. This didn't really add that many tasks for us to do, but it did spice things up. We now unlocked a charter ship, which not only gives us a really useful shop, but allows us to reach 5 more destinations, including Port Khazard, Catherby, Musa Point, Corsair Cove, and Port Sarum. So, those were also added to our list of available chunks for our next roll. Speaking of the next roll, we ended up hitting the Crafting Guild, just north of Remington. Technically, with a spinning wheel in the Crafting Guild and access to sheep, we have a primary method of training crafting and would be required to cut up to a diamond since we can access them from the Artie Market. However, if you look closely, we can't actually access the northern part of the chunk due to not being able to walk around the guild, and on top of that, we don't have access to a brown apron to enter the guild. So, those tasks have been backlogged, which essentially means we'll revisit them once they can be completed. This chunk did unlock hobgoblins, so I had to kill those until I got a steel spear, which was the best in slot 2-hand weapon. After that, we unlocked the chunk in Port Sarum, which there is literally nothing for us to do here because we're actually locked off from leaving the dock due to the chunk boundary. Hey, alright, I'm gonna take the charter ship to go check out Port Sarum. Honestly, it's a little bit pricey, but not too much to pay for some new content. So, wait, are you We were on a roll, a hot streak that couldn't be broken. Our dopamine was high, and we were ready for our journey to finally take off. When disaster struck. This was it. This is one of the chunks that we were dreading. A chunk that contained a full farming patch and also a master farmer. That meant access to seeds. Because we can obtain a torstal, technically the farming requirement for this chunk is 85. This slowed our excitement down to an absolute halt. It was something that we recognized as a threat and that it would be extremely tedious if we rolled it. But we thought maybe we could get away lucky. Even though it felt like we hit a brick wall, we still hadn't decided on how we were going to handle farming. You see, the rules allow you to specify some things about primary and secondary training sources. There are options to lock farming behind Tithe Farm, have no source of primary farming, meaning that the skill would never be required in any chunk, or allow regular farming to be counted as a primary source. While I did say this was going to be a casual account just for fun, we also didn't want to ruin the integrity of the account and just say, well, this is an unreasonable grind, so we're just going to skip it. Because then what's the point of having restrictions? So we're finding a way to compromise. As of right now, I'll be working on planting the highest level seed aside from herb seeds, which would be the poison ivy seed at the Remington Bush Patch at 70 farming. Higher level seeds are naturally rare from the master farmer, so that really limits the amount of farming XP when you're forced to plant low level seeds. In a perfect world, the best course of action would be to have 3 people pickpocketing constantly while 1 person farms. And even then, I'm unsure we'd be able to consistently sustain snapegrass seeds or even watermelon seeds. And while that's essentially the approach that we're taking, not all of us have the time to play in a way that would make the grind to 85 happen within a reasonable time frame. I've been actively farming, meaning sitting around, watering my plants, curing disease daily now, and what I'm seeing is about 1.3k to 1.5k XP per hour. To get 85 with that rate, we're looking at over 2.4k hours, and while that estimate might lean a little bit closer to the worst case scenario, it's just not something that's going to work for our group. Instead of locking farming behind Tithe, or not having it be a requirement at all, we felt satisfied with starting with a more reasonable grind and reevaluating as we approach it. You have to consider as well, if you're doing this on your own, having to obtain seeds, plant them, do some cooking for food, all that really helps to break up the grind, and while it would take longer, you don't have anybody else waiting on you to enjoy playing the account. But in this group format, it doesn't really make sense for more than one person to do farming while the others are stuck thieving. So we're trying to balance it out so that everybody continues to have fun and we stick to our goals. If you're looking for a group that is going to rake patches or spend 2,000 plus hours getting 85 farming, this probably isn't the place. Like I said, there are a few great extreme chunk accounts out there and I highly recommend them. But we're here to have fun at the end of the day, and for that to happen, we really need to focus on what's best for the group. But now that that's covered, let me get you caught up to speed with the routine that I've fallen into. Basically, I have the farming cycle down to an absolute T. I know my farming offset, which is a random 0 to 15 minute difference for each individual player, and I've even gone as far as to work on writing a Python program that calculates my crop growth based on when I've planted it,
taking into consideration my account's 5-minute offset. A farming cycle occurs every 5 minutes and allotments grow on times ending with 0 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, etc. With a 5-minute offset, that means your allotments actually grow at an offset of 5 minutes, so times ending in 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 25 minutes, and so on. After that, we have to take into account the time that the seed is planted, because if it's planted 2 minutes before the next cycle, a typical 10-minute growth cycle now only becomes 2 minutes, and a crop that takes 40 minutes to grow will grow in 32 instead.
Sorry. So yeah, I plan everything on cooldown and make sure to water my allotments. Then I'll make my way over to the bank and to Remington where I can tend to my bush. No, this isn't a segue to a Manscaped sponsorship. Have some class. After that, I'll stop on my way home to get some pineapple for my super compost, and then I fill up my watering cans at this manor and head back to the farm. In between cycles, I've also been walking over here to kill an inventory of cows, passively working on my cooking. At level 38, I'll be able to churn their milk into butter for some butter potatoes and cheese potatoes at 47. It's a foolproof setup with the shop of buckets, dairy cow, churn, potatoes, and a range all within the same area. While running back for cakes or something may be more time efficient, the thing that I've been enjoying the most about this grind is crafting new ideas and playing the game in a less efficient way. It's more exciting, and if making potatoes is what helps break up the grind, then I'm all for it. Oh, and the astute among you are probably wondering where I got this mithril scimitar from. Well, let's just say that the quiz random was really nice to me. So yeah, Ardy Farm is going to be my home for the foreseeable future. I can't say I haven't enjoyed it, and a few people have already noticed me standing here on each of their farm runs throughout the day, which has been fun. If you want to come say hello, my group and I have been trying to stick the world 491, and for those of you who've interacted with me already, you were the final push to help me make this video, so thanks. But really, I'm just testing the waters with this. I'm not sure how many people would want to watch it, and the chunk concept is great, but it's already a really saturated content area right now. This was something I wanted to do for fun with my friends, so if people end up enjoying it along the way, maybe I'll continue to make the videos. If you have any feedback or questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and otherwise, thanks so much for watching. So, this is where the video was supposed to end. Admittedly, I took a little bit of a break between when I started making this video,
Yeah, jackass, it's called procrastination.
and when I'm finishing it. A lot has happened, so for the second time in the same video, let's get you caught up to speed. Oh, and to avoid any confusion, originally the farming goal was to get 61 for snapegrass before I realized poison ivy berries were a thing, so you'll hear me reference that in the next couple clips. Nice, so I'm actually doing some recording for episode 1 right now, and I just got an evil Bob random, so that's 20 fishing. I think level 30 you can use the fishing trawler minigame teleport, which is our closest teleport to Artie. That'll be nice. I wasn't recording because I wasn't actually thinking about this, but I got a sandwich lady random. And I wasn't even going to talk to her, but then I was like, alright, whatever. I had a baguette in the bank, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll keep some of the food, like, just to stack up. That'd be pretty cool. So I talked to her, and I got a meat pie, and I was like, holy shit, I just got a pie dish. We were talking about it, and thinking about, like, oh, is there a way to get a garden pie, or something like that, because that'd be really helpful to get +3 farming. And in our chunks, there's no possible way to get a pie dish. I think the charter ships sell, like, a cake tin or whatever, but no pie dishes. And once I got that, I was like, holy crap, we have garden pies. I mean, all you need to make a garden pie is tomato, onion, and cabbage, and flour and water, but we have all of that. So that's actually kind of huge. This kind of changes everything. Alright, and that is 58 farming. Actually, not bad at all. Wish I had some white lily seeds. But this technically means that I can now plant snapegrass with the garden pie, so that's actually pretty sweet. I think we have about 40 snapegrass seeds right now, so that's some pretty big XP actually. And we hit the milestone of 60 farming. Holy. Wow. That looks amazing. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. So I'm just messing around killing the farmer while I pickpocket the master farmer, and I got some gardening boots. So it's now official. I am a blinged out gardener. Hell yeah. A huge milestone for the account, which I forgot to record, but I left the message up, so it's a win. Yeah, so now we can actually grow snapegrass without having to boost for it. This was the initial goal for the account because we're not going to 85 for Torstal. But then I realized that we actually have access to the bushes, and the highest bush we can plant is, I believe, poison ivy seeds. So yeah, so we need to get 67 now that we can boost for it. So I'm just going to work towards that, honestly. We are about to make some serious moves. I am now planting sweet corn and Avanto, and I've been stacking up the rest of my seeds while I've been thieving. I need sweet corn for some cooking, but we do have other cooking methods, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm currently about 174k XP away from 67 farming, which would get me to finish farming in this chunk. So we're going to start using our snapegrass supply. I'm also going to throw down some snapdragon seeds, and because I can't protect my snapegrass, unfortunately, I'm going to have to babysit it. I'll be planting some limp roots as well. So we're about to get some pretty fat farming XP, honestly. I will say, using up the snapegrass has been an absolute pleasure. Just hit 66. As you can see, we're pretty much out of snapegrass seeds. And yeah, we have one more level until the goal for this chunk, and then we can start rolling. This is insane. I just can't believe that I actually made it this far. 51k to go. What I've been up to now has just really been finishing farming. I'm somewhere around like what? Yeah, 13k XP until my goal level, until we can boost to plant poison ivy bushes. So I'm down to strawberries. I've used up my snapegrass and my watermelon. And yeah, honestly, 67 farming is going to be coming in pretty soon here. Then the only thing we have left to do in this chunk, I believe, is finish 65 cooking. I've gotten 60 so far from doing a lot of potatoes while I was thieving, and also I did some what do you call it? I did some sweet corn. So yeah, 65 is pretty much in the bag. I made some butter and some cheese while I was AFK at work with the churn. All right, today is the day that we are going to end a grind poetically where it first began. Hopefully I get enough XP from this sweet corn harvest to push me over the edge, but we're going to hit 67 farming, which is the goal for us to plant the poison ivy berry seed and finish the farming in this chunk. It's been a long time coming, and quite a few hours, and standing around has got... Wait. Fuck. And there it is, 67 farming. We can now use a garden pie to boost for a poison ivy bush, which aside from herb seeds is the highest thing that I can plant. That is, wow. That feels amazing. There it is for real that time. Alright, well, this is the moment that I've been waiting for to finish farming for this chunk. Let's go ahead and boost with our garden pie. Oh boy, that looks amazing. Super compost and poison ivy seed planted. Now, I'm not sure if it really matters whether I just plant it or if I have to pick it or whatnot, but I'm obviously going to pick it once it's done. I still have to finish some cooking and probably kill another thing or two. I think I have to maybe like kill a ram or something like that. Oh, duh, poison ivy bushes don't get diseased. That's actually awesome. I forgot about that. That's actually kind of big. If I was, you know, still getting farming XP. But either way. There it is. The poison ivy bush is fully grown. Oh my god, that looks so nice. Be a nice little chunk of XP as well. Almost 700 XP. 45 XP per berry. Very nice. I mean, you know, I'm obviously done leveling farming for this chunk, but, you know, just getting some of that passive XP isn't really going to be too bad. It washes over itself, so how could I really complain? So I guess this technically signifies that farming is done. Alright, cool. Oh. I forgot that I needed the... I need the pie to boost. Oops. $65 cooking. There it is. We can now make pineapple pizzas, which is what we needed, and also fantastic food, so really can't complain. Let's go ahead and make that pizza real quick. It's always important to make sure the tomato goes first. And I believe we have to cook the pizza, and then the pineapple should go right on top. There it is. Beautiful. Alright. The last thing I did after cooking was some final cleanup. I went through the chunk roller and double checked my backlog, killed a ram, and then realized I had to kill a farmer for a bronze med helmet. So I killed 450 of them until I realized that bronze med helms were only dropped in free to play. So on to the backlog it goes. Yeah, that one hurt. Then at last, I was able to get the guys together for some much needed dopamine. What do you guys think? Any guesses before we roll?
Alright, we're gonna get the 6 just so I can start wood cutting.
Okay.
It's 5 for sure. I don't know about that.
Alright boys, here we go, good luck. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is literally a non-chunk. I don't think there's anything here. These don't change at all. There's literally no active tasks.
Great.
Okay, so
progress.
Yeah, this unlocks absolutely nothing for us. However, we do have the mine unlocked over here now if we do get a pickaxe. You guys ready for the next one?
Good progress.
Hey, listen, more than one roll is always a good time when you're looking for some dopamine. Here we go. Corsair Cove. Interesting. I forgot that chunk was down there. Yeah, that's unlocked by the charter ship. All right, boys. Well, you know, I gotta go do it. Hold on.
Wouldn't want you to lie to us.
No, definitely not. Yeah. The real question is, how much is it gonna break my bank? All right, not bad.
Yeah,
we got Belletti's bankroll. All right, nice. Okay.
680 GP.
Oh my god, 10 HP on a seagull? Wow.
Wait, what level are they?
Level 3. That's a lot of HP for level 3.
My client keeps crashing.
Oh my god, unbelievable.
Every time I turn the GPU back on, it just crashes.
So there's a ram and 7 seagulls. Let me see, no item spawns. Features, bank deposit box, dead trees, gangplanks. Nothing, literally nothing. Okay, cool. Nice, more
Do you not
rolls.
start the quest there?
No, you start the quest in Port Sarum. So I'm pretty sure if we unlock the ability to start the quest, I think we can finish it. I don't think we have to leave the chunks. Can get to 9, can get to 15. We cannot get to 14. It's in Toronto.
Is there like a tile right there though? You might be able to get that one at like the north end of Legends Guild.
Oh, up there?
I think you can step there, yeah.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I don't know, but
that's
it sure
true.
looks like it.
So I guess that would stay in the roll, right?
Yeah.
All right, yeah,
Or
cool.
I would.
I like that. I like that. Okay, so I guess here we go again. Let's do complete this task and roll. Witch Haven. Interesting. Spinning. Is that a spinning wheel?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So that unlocks crafting. Oh, it's you. You're still here. Honestly, I'm not sure what else I can give you at this point. Get out of here. Scram. Go do something productive. If you enjoyed this video, then share it with your friends. With such a small YouTube channel, I'll need all the exposure I can get. No, really. Go ahead. There's nothing left of the video. Oh wait, I know why you're here. Yeah, you want to know about the name. Well, it was originally Ardougne. You know, like doomed in Ardougne. But now it's Farmdune. Because I'm still in Ardy. And I was farming. Oh my god, this compost bin smells like shit. Huh, no wonder.